It's the FooRcast. Me, Gavin Ford.
Aki.
Double T.
What are we talking about, O-Dog?
We're talking about the idea of perception versus reality as a music artist.
What do you mean?
I mean, like...
What do you mean?
Skepta. I mean, like, online, when you're posting about various milestones or things that's going on towards a release or around a release, how big should you treat certain things, certain milestones, whether or not they might mean a lot or not a lot to you?
Well, we've always believed that you make the things as big as you can, and you exaggerate and you make everything a big deal. And we'd even create, going way back, we create things that weren't really happening, or we'd exaggerate things so people would go, "Oh wow, you're doing well."
You are. Once you created your own chart, didn't you? Put himself at the top of his chart, and everyone was like, "Oh, amazing! Congratulations!" We were laughing for so long about that. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But like things like that, people, you know, they're like,
yeah. When we used to do the FooR's top 4 every week, and it's when I did 2 Gavin Ford solo releases, and I put myself as number 1 in the chart, and I sort of made a joke like people will say that this is biased or whatever, but number 1 is me. And people were comments were like, "Amazing, mate, well done, congratulations, this is brilliant, oh, I'm so made up for you."
Me and him are going, "You put yourself at the top of your own chart, what are you on about?"
I think you've done it on Beatport before, when you've made a Beatport chart and put yourself at the top, and people have said, when we shared that, and you've
but it's
I always feel like charts are good. If you can put yourself number 1 on a chart, anyway, even if it's your own, it looks
people
will congratulate you.
We got congratulated, and I think that's what I think. Like, I think people view success now as what you're posting, and if you people go, "Oh wow, you're doing well," and you will go like, "Oh, am I?" Like, I am struggling.
I never had the balls to put myself at the top of the top release of the week that I did on Bass Hive, but also to me that it felt a bit like I was doing it for fun, because it was just my personal preference of what came out that week. But people would screenshot and share it as if they'd. It
looks good though, doesn't it? It looks good.
But I think, the part of the thing with Bass Hive and part of this stuff is you only get like charts and accolades and stuff when you get to a real high point. And it's like, when you just start making music, you just want to know people are listening at the start. You just want to know that you're doing a good job, and you want to know like things. So a Juno chart or a Beatport chart or someone's chart, like all these things, you're like, someone's listening, someone likes it. Like it means a massive thing. So we started, when we talked about Bass Hive and starting it was about those artists that are doing a good job and doing a thing, and like, I'm doing those top 10 releases, like, because the thing is like, amazing, like, someone thinks something that, like, we always thought it was important. Not that that's a fake accolade, but it's like, just because you're not the biggest artist doesn't mean that you can't be the best tune that week, because there's no other way of doing it from sales or stream. Everyone's become so numbers focused. They'll just be saying that, like, there's not a lot of people out there now that just go, "This is a good tune. This is in my chart." And that's what we're trying to do then. And like, well, even now we do our top 6.
Yeah, we did get to number 1 in the actual DJ City chart, which was quite a good achievement at the time. And it was when we first started, and I don't know if it's achievement for us.
I don't know if it's the same for you, Owen. Like now, because obviously we started a long time before you, but like everything was a massive achievement. The first 1 extra play, the first Radio 1 play, the first every radio play at the start.
That's what I was saying off air just a minute ago. Our first Radio 1, I think we all went out and got absolutely battered and enjoyed it at the moment, didn't we?
I had my first BBC Introducing play during lockdown. We had all of our mates over and listened to the full 2-hour show full of like all the indie bands around Southampton, and then it was my song last, my bassline song last. We had a big party because of that.
Exactly, yeah. But that's a good accolade for you, isn't it?
Well, it's great as the first one.
Our first Radio 1 play was on a Saturday, so I mean,
I was pretty much already out.
Yeah. I think it just coincided with you being out anyway.
I was balls deep in beers by the time.
Yeah, I don't even think you knew you were on the radio. I think you were just drunk and it was out at the same time. And I said, we're on the radio. And you're like, I'm already celebrating, mate. Yeah, but no, we did. But like we did celebrate. And to be honest, I still get excited about hearing ourselves on the radio.
Of course,
but I don't celebrate unless on a Saturday, and obviously you're already celebrating it then. But
first time when the Cause advert, that was a big celebration.
Yeah, there's a video of you all together watching that, isn't there?
Yeah, David was there. Was
he?
Yeah. We watched it at Aki's house.
My invite was lost in the post, I think.
Were you around then?
Right at the end of that period, yeah, because it was when we just ripped off all the stuff on the walls in the old office.
Okay.
But like I'm saying, the smallest ones to the biggest ones, we celebrate them all because they're all as important.
Yeah.
As growing up as artists, like.
But I think you should celebrate every.
You always say the journey's the best part.
Yeah. The first 100 plays on SoundCloud, the first 1,000 plays on SoundCloud, the first.
My first rider, all my mates drank it. I was fuming.
Aki thought they were going to take it away from him, and he drank it. What was it? A whole bottle of rum
in our hour set, yeah.
In an hour set at a club called Winkers.
That was a great club, by the way.
Which is a great club.
But like you've got to celebrate those moments. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess even if they're like manufactured moments, I mean that in the sense of like. If you're just getting your mates to buy your song for 99p or something, and then it gets to the top of the chart, if the perception is that you've got to the top of the chart, celebrate it like you have got to the top of the chart, even if it was just you and your mates all buying.
Yeah,
it.
but
also if it is say like a Juno chart or a Beatport chart, which obviously aren't the charts, like there's still about 50 or 60 records that come out that week in that genre, plus records that are out before. Like, if you're number one on Juno for that day, like that means everyone is buying. Like, it is an achievement. 100%. I don't think it might not be the biggest thing, and it might after a while you might think, I've done it, but it is a great achievement. And I think going back to the reality and the perception thing, we're just talking about as people, as humans, we celebrate all these wins, and you should celebrate. Should you celebrate the wins? Yeah, we do. Obviously, Aki celebrates. Everything.
Just going back to the rider thing, we were resident DJs for years and years, so for us to actually get our own rider.
I used to steal people's riders.
we used to do like, I remember we used to take them to me like, I won't mention names, but we used to.
No, I will. I took Chaser Status's rider.
Yeah, I had a sweet.
I've sold everyone's rider.
But I mean, like as I'm saying, like we used to. Like to eventually have your own, they come over. This is your rider. I was like,
to be honest, the first one was in Portsmouth. The first ever rider was in Portsmouth, and it was a manager called Bill Dearsley, who was manager of Icon, who was famously like a bit of a tight bastard, and used to DJ and be around those sort of clubs. And to get my first rider off him felt like a win. But all these things feel like wins. You should enjoy all these moments, especially on the way up, because like there'll be a point where it gets real businessy. If you want to do this properly and you want to make a living from it, there's a point where it's going to get businessy. There's a point where it's going to get like the money involved, and there's a point where it's going to be not drinking and enjoying all these things. It's going to be like, oh well, this is a serious decision, and this is a thing, and what we're going to do here, we're going to do this. So you should enjoy all these moments. You should celebrate as much as you can, like however you want to. You don't have to celebrate by going out and drinking like Aki does. You can go for a nice walk or something.
I drink responsibly, mate.
He definitely doesn't drink responsibly. But what we talk about reality versus perception is, should you make a big thing, like do a big post about it? Should you go, oh, I've just been played on this or this, or like, but I think that's celebrating. It's what you should do.
I think you should, 100%. Like, it's an achievement for yourself, so...
I tell you what,
people should like seeing you doing well and achieving stuff. So you should. Go on.
I think it does work. I think people go, "Oh yeah, you're doing well," and there's a momentum and thing, and like people think, and maybe promoters see it, maybe customers see it, go, "Oh, mate, they are doing well. Maybe I should listen to their music. Maybe I should come to a gig." But maybe people think like that. I think what you shouldn't do, and we definitely did this, but we might have did this. We
go out and get pissed every weekend.
No, I mean there's no stopping Aki doing that. We did it with a thing called FooRcast, which is a thing before FooR, before Maximus Baxter, which is me and Aki, FooRcast, but dressed up as ninjas.
I forgot about this.
We did a mix CD, and we're giving it out around Freshers Week. And we did a tour, but the tour was essentially...
But it's an achievement.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't do this.
No, you shouldn't do this.
We did it, we listed I was a resident DJ at loads of clubs, so I listed every single show that we were doing. So it was literally like probably the same 4 clubs thing. But we did this massive tour thing. And I've seen people do that since. At the time, it was like, oh, we're going on tour. And at the time, it was like, this is brilliant. We're doing a FooRcast tour. And we did try and make it a bit special and thing. And I've seen other people do that. But the thing is, one day you're going to do if you're doing, you might do your own tour. And you've ruined your own tour announcement because you've done this fake tour. So you shouldn't do stuff like that because it's not a lie, but you're fabricating the truth. And because you've done that, now when you actually have your own tour, like people go, oh, hang on, I thought you've done that.
We were announcing our residency as a tour.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't take things. And I see sometimes people do it and go, oh, we're going on tour. It's not a tour. You're just listing some gigs that you're doing. Like,
yeah, you can list your dates. This is my dates this month.
You can do dates, but like, your first, like, if, we might still want to do a tour. Like, and then if you go, oh, but you've done that already, haven't you? Because people say, oh, wow, you're number 1 in your own chart. They're not paying 100% attention. So if you go, oh, no, we're actually going on tour, they'll be like, I swear you've been on tour because you've said it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And we used to another thing we used to do. God, we're bad at this. We're
yeah, but this is what it's about. It's a journey. It's all about.
Yeah. We made these mistakes, so you shouldn't. But again, I don't know if this is a massive. But the very, very first record we did. I'm sorry. Almost got signed to a major record label, but before it almost got signed to a major record label, we pretended it got signed. So we did a post signing the contract, and it did kind of get signed because our friend Phil Kemish, Disrupt, the company at the time, was going to put it out because we didn't have a record label then.
Yeah.
So we did sign it to them, but we didn't. We didn't actually sign a contract. And a few months later, we almost did get it signed. So we would have had to have gone, oh, actually now it's signed, sort of the thing. And then people were like, but when we actually would have signed to like Warner's or Sony or stuff, like again, you would have we would have took the own, I mean, it was years after, but you took the own sweetness from your own announcement because people would go, well, haven't you already done that? I was like, well, no, actually, I was lying. And then you think, well, what else are you lying about, mate?
Yeah, but we used to get artists on our label come in and sign contracts. It's on their first releases, so I think it's a good thing to say.
Well, what we used to do, what the theory was, is you get the local people involved in some excitement. Oh, wow, look, they've signed a thing and there's momentum. And to be honest, I don't think that's too bad a thing, especially if it's your first ever record out. Like you sign a small deal for your first record and sort of things.
Because when people know you're doing music.
We didn't even sign a deal. No. Those are people signing contracts. We just completely pretended that we signed a record deal. Where our friend just went, I'll put that out for you if you want. And we went, all right, sweet.
Yeah. That was a silly mistake.
Yeah, but saying, I've just signed, signing your first record, bringing your first record out, your first thing, these are all things, and you should celebrate.
That's what I'm saying.
It came up on my Facebook memories recently where I signed my first Yosh Pit contract, and the caption was, I've signed to a record label.
Yeah, and like, that's achievement.
But that's true. That is true.
Yeah, and like that's the reality, and that involves me writing my name and some information on a document on my laptop. But then printing it out and holding up the bit of paper and all of that, that's the perception of making it feel like a much bigger deal.
But still, it's your first, like, you've made music to a point where now it could be released on a label. Like, so you've gone to a record label and they've gone, this is good, we're going to put it out, which is an achievement. Yeah. Because for years, or however long, your music was not good enough to be released on a label and it wasn't to a good enough standard.
So it's an achievement, isn't it, once you finally get to that point?
Yeah, if you've just put your own record out and put it, like, uploaded it to whatever and then gone, guys, I've just signed a deal, and you haven't, which is what we pretty much did.
You did. I don't think I was involved in that one.
No, it was just me. Then that is that. What it did there is stupid, and like creating your own tour where this isn't a tour. It's like these are things, but there is a perception of it. People go, putting yourself at the top of your chart. These are all things you shouldn't do that we did.
But then, like, when at that point, this kind of dream of ours is to go on tour. So we kind of like made it into reality, but
it is kind of manifestation.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, and now, obviously now we've toured loads. We're going to say back then it was a stupid thing to do, but
then again, back then no one really said manifestation back then. We didn't know what that meant, so back then it was just lying. We were just liars back then. I'm thinking back to it, but But I think, you know, you should. I think in this content day and age, like, I think you should go, I've got this many streams, I've done this, I've done that.
Definitely.
Like, you should make a thing, because then...
And birthdays, like, I've been doing this for 2 years, this is a milestone, you know, things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, this is my 2nd anniversary of making...
Especially if it's something you're proud of. It's 2 years of Nights of Our Lives just coming up. So we'll probably do a post about that. Because
it's done 10 years of FooR as well.
10 years of FooR.
I mean, like, that's a milestone, isn't it?
This is my 5th year, so...
Hey, 5 years of Sweet Baby Doublet. And now but now you look back at, you know, it's good to look, well, it's like we're doing now, look back at 10 years, look back at the memories. And also, if you go back, you do it for yourself, because you go back for your Instagram or your Facebook and thing, and you go, oh, I remember that. That's when I pretended that I signed a record deal. But you go, I signed my first record, when Owen actually signed his first record deal 5 years, it must be 5 years ago. You go back and he'd have the picture of it and a thing, and you remember how he felt. Like, you should do it for yourself as well as everyone else.
But like you say, like, if he is signed and you put stuff up saying, oh, I've just had my first record signed, and you've got the signing thing and that, to other people it looks like you're doing really well. And like you say, promoters might even look at it and go, actually, this guy's...
Yeah, they go, they just signed a deal, we should listen to that song. So if you sign a deal with anyone, your first one, you make a thing about it.
But then you should shout.
Don't pretend.
Shout about things. Don't keep it quiet. Shout about things. I've done
part
this,
of the fun
I've
as
done
well,
that.
isn't it? You've made a song which you really enjoy, then other people are playing it.
Yeah.
You get it signed, you get to release it. That's all fun. So you celebrate those steps along the way.
And also, when we first done this, the people in our city was really behind us, like massively. Not so much now, so they know we're established now. But I mean, they actually come and joined us on the journey a little bit. You know, like
our first music video, which everyone shared, the whole of Southampton shared. Then the Echo thing, it was such a big deal. It got so many views in the first week. That's how we almost got the actual record deal from Southampton supporting us.
Yeah.
And hang on, maybe because I pretended that I signed a record deal, they all got behind it. So maybe I was right to completely lie.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I wouldn't advise it.
No, don't do it.
No, don't do
that. Don't just completely lie.
Don't be like Gavin.
Don't do what I do. But I think that's true. Everyone got behind it, and to be honest, that's what we try to emulate with the local artists when we do the contracts. But we actually were signing artists.
But they wouldn't have got behind us if we didn't do these things, saying we're doing this, we're doing that. You know, like, so you should, like, say,
there's momentum.
You should show your side and show everything, because that's what gets the people behind you and your friends. So
just don't completely make stuff up.
Like, we didn't massively, only that.
No, and the tour wasn't the tour.
But like, having the city behind you gives you good momentum and certain things. Like, our first festival we played, everyone came and see us at a certain. We were on quite early, and we told everyone we made a big thing out of it.
4 at 4.
Yeah, we made quite a big thing of it. We're on, and then all our friends turned up and made sure they were there for that. So
yeah, and that started off the thing, because once that song didn't get signed for whatever reason, that song had made a big enough impact in Southampton that we got those bookings, and then we got enough people to come to the gig,
get footage and stuff.
We got the footage, and then it was like, oh, they're good live. We got an agent off the back of one song that never come out. Yeah, and then we're still here now. So
back from the back of this lie you've actually done pretty well out of it when you think about it.
So there you go. There's a lesson. Lie and lie and lie again.
Confusion lesson, but
just lie. Just make up everything. Put yourself at the top of your charts. Say you signed deals.
Yeah.
Just lie.
No, fake it, man.
So the reality versus perception. Perception wins. Is what
I think put a bit of perception in there.
Yeah, I think
you've got to.
Well, yeah, we say celebrate the wins, which is bulk up the perception.
Yeah, bulk up. Yeah.
But what we're trying to say is have some reality in there.
Have some reality, but
if anyone's got any stories that they've done, where they've lied or they've done something like that, or they've heard of anyone else, I'd love to hear them. I bet there's some amazing ones.
Yeah, actually, put them in the comments. We'd actually love to hear them.
Yeah, because we've got there's obviously some stories of our lies, just our lies in the last 12 years, and there's probably stuff that I've forgotten. There's probably others. So if we remember them, we'll come back to this.
What happened to Fukaki?
Well,
Do you know what? We had breakdancing ninjas. We turned up as ninjas, and we had breakdancing ninjas, and we did like a stunt where they all just sat in the middle of Southampton City Centre. They didn't move. They just sat cross-legged, and people gathered round, and then we'd start the music, and they start and have huge crowds. And we did a gig with Chase the Status and Jaguar Skills.
As
FooRcast. And we were in the second tent, did the same thing. No one was in there. So we just sat the ninjas at the front. People come to see what was going on, then started. Aki claims that Jaguar Skills was there, and Jaguar Skills wasn't wearing a ninja mask then, and saw us wearing it.
He might have. Listen, I'm not.
No, you gotta go. You gotta stick with it.
He reckons that he wasn't wearing a ninja mask then, and he saw us, and then said, "Right, I'm going to be a ninja." And we know him, and I've never asked him about that.
Fair play if he did, because he's actually smashed it by doing it.
So you might say bad idea. You might mock us, O-Dog. That might have been mocking us, but
it was a good idea. We just didn't elevate it how we should have.
Of course it was. Jaguar Skills has been going for ages. And
we didn't elevate it how we should have. We kind of, I don't know what happened. Gav went on tour around Southampton and it kind of ended. The tour ended and the whole thing ended, so.
but yeah, I mean, it's good. But again, it's like.
He was exhausted from the tour, wasn't he?
What, the tour really took out of me. I covered at least 3 cities with that tour. Yeah, let us know if you know any other stories of doing this.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
And we'll think of, there'll be more times that we've done that.
Yeah.
We'll think about, we'll come back. Thank you for watching. Wallop.